Incoming transmission.
Hello and welcome to the Star Trek Attack Wing Battle Bridge podcast. This is our fourth episode, which we will be discussing and debriefing the Drive OP event that we recently held at the Dragon's Den in Poughkeepsie. You can now find our podcast on the Shipyard channel on YouTube. Thank you, David Montgomery, for inviting us to your channel. And now it's time for us to introduce ourselves and answer the question, what would we like to see come out for Star Trek Attack Wing in the near future?
Hi, my name is Danish, and what I'd like to see come out from Star Trek Attack Wing in the near future, I can't wait to see some Kelvin timeline ships. I'd like to see the JJ Enterprise, and I'd like to see the Kelvin come out. Those are the things I'm really looking forward to.
Hey everybody, it's Pete here. I was thinking the Dreadnought from the new movies. I like the way the ship looked, even though it really seemed to be a bit impractical.
This is Chris, and I really want to see, and this is going to not be along the ship line, I would like to see either star bases for other factions besides Independent, Dominion, and Federation, or, token pieces that can be used outside of OP events to add to the game, not just, planets or
Obstacles?
Obstacles, yeah.
And my name is Ryan. I actually think I'd like to complete my Enterprise collection. I would love to get an Enterprise C that has a beautiful hull, and it would be really neat just to be able to put them all in a row and see the development of the Enterprise line in general.
Thing is, I want to see Star Trek as an ongoing licensed merchandising juggernaut.
I would love to see that as well. I would love to see it as popular in the stores as Star Wars is.
Exactly. Well, we're going to talk about the event that we had. We did play the Drive OP. This is the OP where you had to choose a racer, and you had to get about halfway across the board in order to free up your reserve ships. You could not move or even defend your ships until you did cross through that finish line, which did cause some problems for a lot of people. We played 3 rounds. We had 7 players who were able to make it this last time. The 4 of us who are doing the podcast here, Timothy, Joe, and one of my friends, Matt, came and joined and actually did really well. He ended up playing in the title fight, which we'll talk more about in just a second. In round 1, we saw Timothy, who just creamed Chris.
Yeah, that was not fun for me. I really wish I had played this event at least once beforehand, and I also wish I had read my cards a little bit better.
Wow.
Yeah, Timothy was able to set up so I couldn't use warp jump to get anywhere near his ships, and when he did that, I couldn't recover. He wiped out my racer, my Prometheus, and then cleaned up. He smoked me. I got no ships from him. He got all of mine.
Yeah, the tough thing about warp jump is you can't play it within range 3 of any other ship.
Yeah, I misread that as being. I thought it was your opponent's ship, so I thought it was okay. I will say Timothy played it perfectly. He had some experience playing you, so he definitely benefited from that. And he got me fair and square, and it was really impressive.
He was delighted.
Yeah, it's the second time he's been able to crush me. I mean, the 2 times he's beaten me, he devastated me.
Cool.
Yeah, he's really starting to become a great player, and it's really the tradition is continuing. Danish, you should be proud. Chip off the old block.
I'm so happy.
I may soon not have to, pull back when. I'm joking.
I stopped doing that a while ago because I needed to. He's a quality player. Well, Table 2 saw Danish defeat Pete, if you gentlemen want to speak on that.
Not really, but we will.
I don't mind speaking about it. The fleet that I was playing, I pulled it on a lot of my tricks, and I was able to run my racer across the line in the first turn and then turn on Pete's racer. And I was able to blow Pete's racer up in the second turn before he was able to get across the finish line. Also, I was able to warp jump over to Pete's reserve fleet and start shooting at him in the second round. So Pete came with 4 ships, 4 Xindi ships, and my fleet worked perfectly. I was able to get him down to 2 ships by the end of the third round, which meant that I had 4 ships. He had 2 by the time he was able to even leave his reserve area. And I got to tell you, when that happened, Pete, I was feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have gone full bore against Pete because this fleet is just too powerful. And then you came out with your 2 ships and started to blast the hell out of me. And I stopped being embarrassed about having gone full bore against you earlier.
I honestly, you never should have been. But yeah, I mean, I think I got one of your ships. I think, and I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
At this moment, but I know I finally, it was like, finally I got one ship. And I don't think it was even, was it? No, it wasn't even the racer. So it wasn't even like the pared down ship.
No, you got one of my. I think it was the Defiant. I was running the Defiant 1764, the Enterprise A, and the Reliant was my racer, and I think you took the Defiant 1764 off me.
That must have been it. Oh, yeah, right. The new Reliant.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the new Defiant.
The new Defiant.
Now, was this the game where I kept telling you, Pete, that you should re-roll the die or what? And you're like, no, I never roll a crit, and then you would roll a crit.
Yeah, that was.
I think that was you. Yeah, no. Yeah. I had a few. Yeah, I was a little out of it that first game. I was like, wait, what do I do first? And Danish had to remind me. I'm like, wait, what am I doing? And then,
Danish is an excellent sportsman, so.
Well, that was definitely an interesting round. Table 3. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just remembered. That whole entire first game, I had my resource,
right.
general orders.
Yeah, you had the general orders resource.
Totally forgot to use it.
Yeah.
It was. I set it up. I had all the. Just totally forgot. It was just like.
It would have really added to your dice quality if you'd remembered that.
It would have, and I think I would have maybe possibly at least gotten a second ship from.
Yeah. That actually happened in at my table too. I defeated Joe, but it was definitely touch and go for a while. I made some really crucial mistakes, and if it hadn't been for Joe forgetting to use his ability to take battle stations whenever he wanted, I don't know. I probably would have been creamed myself. I ended up playing. If you listen to our third episode, you heard me talk about a Quark's Treasure fighter build or a racer build. I changed it up a little bit and had thrown on cargo hold to give me 2 additional tech slots. So that gave me the inversion wave of Thought Maker. So that saved me 3 points from having previously had B'Elanna Torres on. And I filled those 2 crew slots with Kos, the Vulcan that when he's on your ship, none of your upgrades can be affected by your opponents, and Stex, which is a Klingon, which if a crew upgrade on an enemy ship would cause your ship to discard or disable on your upgrades, roll 2 defensive dice. If you roll at least 1 evade, you ignore the effects of the enemy upgrade. And I knew that someone was going to be bringing Jennifer Sisko. And
I don't know who plays that.
Usually you, Chris, and we, for the first time in maybe a year and a half, we didn't play each other in the first round. So
yeah,
and ended up not playing at all. But it did play an effect later. Now, when I threw in Thought Maker, I didn't read the card very clearly either. So in the same situation Chris was, and I had changed Joe's dial for his racer to a 3 turn, or excuse me, bank. And I put it down, and he picked it up and looked at it and said, and he goes, Ryan, you can't do that. It has to be a 1 or 2 green maneuver. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. So he changed it to whatever he wanted on our TO's ruling, and managed to jump up to the finish line there. I was still able to do the inversion wave, so I still made it past as well, but it just basically became a regular battle at that point. And of course, Quark's Treasure had no quality on it, so it was blown up immediately. And he got another one of my ships 2 turns later. But I somehow managed to outmaneuver him, and he did forget his resource, and I somehow managed to come back and take the battle. I don't know how, but it worked, so that was cool.
Hey, well done.
So in round 2, Matt, a friend of mine, Matt had elected to take the bye on the first round because he is still new to the game and he wanted to watch so he could kind of get a feel for how we all played and kind of, review in his mind. In the second round, Matt played Timothy, who was already 1-0, and ended up winning, which is pretty amazing. He did play the kill fleet that I mentioned last podcast, but was coached through it a little bit, I think, by you, Chris. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. And Timothy also went a lot easier on him than he did on me. So he understood that, it was Matt's first time playing. And I did, give Matt some advice and then thoroughly rooted against Timothy. But it was a good game. I mean, they were both able to release their fleets, and then it became a regular battle.
And that one timed
out. Well,
I
didn't start a timer thinking that one of them had, and so yeah, it timed out because we just kind of called it.
And that was a Matt win. I think he had defeated more of Timothy's ships in the long run. So table 2 had Joe playing against you, Pete. How did that go?
He wiped me out, but I did get points because I was able to get across the finish line first this time. I actually remembered I had cards that would allow me to do these things. And then I got some points because he did discard. Other than that, he just wiped me off the board. I didn't get any of his ships.
Well, at least you were able to make it to have your fleet released. I know the four of us have been talking about this a lot off air, where none of us particularly cared for this because it's encouraged playing in a way that wasn't fun for anyone.
Yeah, I actually I used the
Subspace Vortex.
That was it. And so I jumped, but I turned the opposite direction, so I was facing his racer, thinking I would be able to maybe damage him or even just stop him from getting across the finish line that first turn. But nope, he wiped me out. I was like, is there any ruling that says you have to go that way to go across the finish line, or can you go this way across the finish line? So I thought I was, pulling off a trick there, but it didn't quite work that way.
And that's something I tried to do when I played you on table 3, Dana.
Yeah, and you came at me with Quark's treasure, and you were able to use your control fleet aspects to make my racer fly the opposite direction from the finish line. So I was able to get across the finish line in the third turn. But I had you were able to take at least 2 turns to shoot at my reserve fleet without any defense dice.
Right, and I felt bad about it. I didn't feel comfortable with any of these, except for the one against Joe because I messed up the beginning anyway, so it ended up being a fair fight. But with you, and then in the third round, I don't know. It wasn't a good feeling having won, and so I split my other 2 ships that had charged across. I think I flew the Prometheus and the Voyager because they both have 6 straights. Not Prometheus.
The Scimitar as well.
The Scimitar, that's what it was. I'm sorry. Yes, the Scimitar and the Voyager. And I split the attacks so that I wanted you to be able to move something and not just have a waste of a round. And because I did that, you brilliantly warp jumped with your Enterprise A and went completely the opposite direction, which I was not set up to attack you for. And you ended up making it a really sufficiently close battle compared to how it started.
It was pretty intense. I was able to take your Scimitar as well as your racer. Obviously, I took the racer, but I was also able to take your Scimitar off. I think you ended still with the Voyager alive and
mostly shielded. Even.
Yeah.
And it had systems upgrade on it, so it had that extra shield anyway. But it was closer than I thought it was going to be, and I'm glad for that. But I don't know.
But it's not a wonderful scenario. It doesn't leave you feeling good even if you win.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Well, Chris had the bye in that second round, but in the third round he played Pete.
How did that go for you, Pete?
Oh, this was a wash for me entirely.
I was able to use my warp jump effectively, and Pete, I don't think you didn't get a single one of my ships. I don't think.
No, I did.
You did?
Because I got 41 points off of you. I think I got the.
You must have gotten my racer.
Yeah.
So
that I did get.
Yeah, I completely ignored his racer. Like I was running Jennifer Sisko, and he disabled 2 things on his racer, thinking that I was going to choose them. And I was like, no. I'm not worried about your racer. I'll disable that giant weapon you have on your ship.
Because he couldn't undisable it.
Yeah,
until he
was free, and then so it was a matter of prioritizing. I agree. It was not even fun for me. I know it wasn't fun for Pete.
It was not Pete's best day of Star Trek Attack Wing. I guess
no. No, sorry, Pete.
I don't think I've ever had a full wash before, like the whole series. I've done two losses, 1 win, I'm sure, but I've never had the day where the entire game just lost before.
Those are hard days to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and rethink my life.
Maybe I'll play X-Wing.
Yeah.
So what about Table 2, Ryan? You played Matt on Table 2. How'd that go?
Yeah, this ended up being the title fight. I mean, I kind of did the same thing, and I said to Matt and I are very good friends. Our kids call each other uncle, kind of thing, and we've known each other a long time. And I'm glad that he finally was able to make it, because I've been trying to get him to come for quite a while, and I hope that he comes back. But I said to him before we started, I was like, "Look, man, I want the prize ship for whatever reason. I like the Delta Flyer. It is my favorite ship in the Star Trek series. It's like I want the prize ship. I'm probably not going to go very easy on you." And he goes, "No, don't worry about it." So I kind of took that as license. I didn't jump across and start attacking his ships immediately, but I did control his fleet to go the other way, and I kind of set myself up in a position that once his ships were free, I was going to be able to pounce on them, and that's how it went, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
I did end up winning, of course. Not of course, I mean, but because of the way I was set up and the experience versus Matt having this being his first OP. But I did end up winning. But yeah, there you go. It was a battle royale though for the father-son duo on Table 3, right, Danish?
Yeah, that was knockdown, drag-out fight between me and my son, and we were obliterating each other's ships. He wound up edging me out at the end. Again, I think this was also a warp jump issue for me. I was playing warp jump on my Enterprise A, and I wasn't able to get my Enterprise A where I wanted it to go. Timothy was crafty in his build, and he was able to put a number of defeaters for Jennifer Sisko on his racer, and that makes all the difference. If both racers make it across the finish line, warp jump becomes very, very difficult, and so that's where it was for me, and I wound up not being able to take him apart like I wanted to, and and he wound up beating me.
As I recall, there was a moment where it was still pretty even, and there was a maneuvering issue that occurred.
Oh yeah, well that's the other thing. Yeah, I forgot about that. I warp jumped my Enterprise A to be in a position to take his reserve fleet out, and I dialed in the wrong maneuver and flew the ship off the map in the second turn. So that was my best ship with all my best options on it. I flew it off the map in the second turn. It's a kind of mistake I haven't made in 2 years since I started playing the game, and it was very embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I guess I blocked it out of my memory. So thanks for reminding me, Ryan.
Sorry to have brought it up.
Rubbing salt in the wound there.
Iodine, at least.
It just
powder.
reminds you that no matter how much experience you have, you can still make mistakes, and that was it for me. Yeah, absolutely.
So we had our first place was Ryan, myself. Second place though was Timothy.
Right.
This was his best finish, if I recall.
Oh
correct.
yeah. He came in
exciting.
with 2 wins and a loss, and he was very excited to win. Second place.
We all voted for our Red Shirt Fellowship Award, and we voted for Matt. So Matt receives the prize pack as well. Now he's just going to have to get the retail so that he can actually fly a model with it, which would be handy.
Well, I believe Chris,
Chris was ahead of that game because they didn't come with models, and because Chris knew that there were a bunch of players who wouldn't have the Delta Flyer model. Chris actually scratch built some shuttlecraft models, taking was it like Micro Machines shuttlecraft?
Yeah, the Micro Machines,
and drilling in the bottom and hot gluing posts into them, and they're ugly as sin, but man, it was a wonderful thing.
They did not look as beautiful as your very large. Was that a Hot Wheels brand Enterprise A that you were flying?
That was obviously a model kit, an AMT model kit.
Oh man, and it was about 6 inches long, and I have to tell you, just looking at it, it was scary to go up against because of how impressively large it was compared to all the other minis.
Yeah, I allow at the event. I know they have the ships. It's fun to see the more detailed version, so I allow Danish to run his models as if they were the actual.
And it's an automatic win in the psychological battle.
Oh, it's great. I love it. And it's a win for me just to see this beautiful ship flying out there rather than the little tiny nothing burger of a tiny prize.
And it does nothing to the rules, so it's
perfectly all right. None of us care. I actually think it's great, too.
I'm going to start playing my 1 to 200 scale Voyager.
Yeah, good for that. Would be great. That'd cover the entire. It would be so tippy you wouldn't have to do it.
And you're going to put it on 15 pegs just because.
Yep.
So the resource that went to each player was the co-pilot resource, and I've got it here in front of me. I hope you guys do too. The co-pilot resource is a very interesting one. Actually, I hadn't really thought about it too much before we got it at the event, but it looks like a good usable resource. For 5 SP, you get 5 mission tokens placed on the card, and once per round during the combat phase, you can remove 1 mission token from this card to use one of the following abilities for one of your ships. You can add +3 to your captain's skill number, you can re-roll one of your attack or defense dice, or you can place an evade or a battle stations token beside your ship. Of course, once all the mission tokens are gone, the card is useless and gets removed from the game.
So here's the thing. This is used during the combat phase.
Yeah.
So I don't know if use number 1 does anything.
Right.
Because
the rules say that if your captain skill changes during the combat phase, usually by having fighters blown up or something, then it doesn't take effect until the next round.
End of phase.
But it says add +3 to your captain's skill number. It doesn't say that effect only lasts for that round. So my question is, can you indefinitely add +3 to your captain's skill over the course of 2 or 3 rounds? Add 6 or not even 9 captain skill to it. I think it's.
I'm almost afraid to ask Worf, though. I'll be honest, because they always make
who knows
the direction decision as smart decision. So,
but I mean, picture it though. I mean, picture taking a generic Klingon captain or a generic Federation captain. He costs you nothing, and he has a captain skill of 1. And if you used co-pilot in the first turn to add 3 to his captain skill, in the second round he's a captain skill 4. In the third round, he's a captain skill 7, and you've paid nothing for him.
No, you've paid 5 for him.
Okay, so you pay
because essentially you're paying this 5 for his captain skill.
Yeah, but would you really need to do that more than twice to get you a skill 7 captain? Now you're probably up amongst the top, at least compared to how we usually play, and you still have 3 tokens left.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying it's not really for free because you're just paying the resource cost.
It's not a gimme.
So I would say you're paying 2 because you're using 2 of the 5 tokens, 1 token and 1 if it equals out to 1 token for each SP, you're paying 2 for him, and you're spending 2 turns to get that. That captain might already be dead.
Right. And I guess the other thing you lose is the opportunity cost to reroll attack or defense dice, or place an evade or a battle stations token next to your ship. So,
I really see this one as the battle stations token without a ruling on number 1, whether it does anything or if it's permanent until that ruling happens. I see number 3 is probably the most common use.
And it's not bad. It's an evade or a battle stations, and you'll be able to do that every round for 5 rounds. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it's really helpful for like the Klingons and the Romulans who don't have those really native abilities. It's not an action.
Right.
So you can do this.
Yeah, neither is it a free action, so you overlap a ship's base, you can still take a battle station or evade.
Yeah.
Once General Orders is no longer in play, I think Copilot might be my next go-to.
I'm still in love with auxiliary power. I think auxiliary power is even better, but yeah, Copilot is pretty good.
Yeah, I don't see why you don't just use this. I mean, General Orders gives you a battle station if you're within arc of your opponent. Does it have any other effect?
No, it doesn't. Just the fact that you can do more with it for the same SP.
For the same SP, and you're not limited to being in the arc. This should be your go-to resource.
I should have probably read it earlier, but I just looked at it now. Once
I still want to put in a pitch for auxiliary power, though. With auxiliary power, you can put an evade token. You can also roll extra attack dice if you wish. Now you do get the cost of an Ox token, but most of us know how to deal with that fairly effectively. So I don't know. I like the Ox Tower. I like the Ox Power resource. This is a good one. I'll definitely give it some thought, but it's hard for me to leave my Ox Power at home.
Well, the good thing about Ox Power is you can also repair a shield token, which for 5 SP at the possibility of repairing 5 shield tokens is half the price you would pay for the actual stats themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see those two as being the best current in the game. Copilot and auxiliary power.
I like Fleet Commander. I like to be able to.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that too.
The cost of Fleet Commander, though, is always prohibitive as for me. Whenever I've looked at it, the idea of adding that cost onto the cost of the additional captain always gives me pause. But you use it really well. But
yeah. All right. Let's move on to the prize pack. Which,
yay!
Yeah. Hey, you really wanted it.
I wanted it because I thought it was coming with a new mold for the Delta Flyer, and that is and has always been my favorite Star Trek ship. I just think it's so cool that it was built from the ground up in the Delta Quadrant with no help from anyone else, and yet was just such a kick butt ship. And anyway, so I was wanting it for that, and I knew that there's nothing on here that I would not ever. I might use the pulse-based weapons. It's a weapon card. It's 5 points though for 2 attacks at range 1 with 3 dice for each attack. Now, they're defended against separately, and they have to be used against different ships. So, Chris, you had mentioned possibly using them against
Fighters.
Fighters, that's right. So that's a possibility, but you still have to. You can't fire both attacks at the same group of fighters to try and knock them down before they have an opportunity to attack you. I don't know that it's going to be useful for 5 points.
No, totally situational. Totally situational. Like pretty much anything on this prize pack is. I mean, you look at the captain, Tom Paris. He can, ignore an Ox power if you on a hull of 2, turn a red maneuver into a white maneuver. Great, he can fly the Borg Scout Cube.
That's the only one that we know of right now with a hull 2 that has a red maneuver on its dial.
Unless they'll be coming out with other ships in the future, Tom Paris is a pretty useless captain, except on the Scout Cube. What really burns me about those pulse phasers is it's a 5-point weapon that's in a prize pack for a shuttlecraft, and a shuttlecraft cannot take a 5-point
even
weapon.
Put it on the Yeah.
A shuttlecraft
There's
is
no
limited.
synergy in this pack at all. There's nothing.
Shuttlecraft's limited to what, a 4-point weapon or a 3-point weapon?
4 points, yes.
4 point. So that burns my buttons, and that just says, okay, here we're putting a card in here that you cannot use with the ship that it's on.
And there was a recent ruling saying something with, like, for example, using Sakona to make it one less. That apparently takes effect after the fleet is built. So you couldn't even use something that would make the weapons cost less and try and squeeze that 5 onto the flyer. It wouldn't work according to Worf rules. So I'm looking through the cards. You've got impulse thrusters, which for 4 points you disable it to, if you move 3 or less, you disable it to move an additional 1 forward. Maybe, but I doubt it.
An additional 1 forward for
Yay!
Yeah.
I don't even know why you would use that, except, I mean, I guess in the first couple rounds, as you're trying to dart across the board, it would help to keep up with your bigger ships. But I don't know.
If you really need to get out of Cloaked Mines territory, but
It's true.
that's about it.
I don't think I would ever play Tom Paris. I don't think I would ever play I don't think I would ever play Quick Thinking for 5 points, discard to perform a sensor sweep even if your ship is not cloaked. Maybe, but it's, again, so situational, I doubt it.
5 points for 1 sensor echo.
Yeah, but you don't have to be cloaked for it. I mean, maybe if you put that on Kirk, who allows you to put the cards face down, and you've got a couple of options under there that didn't cost 5 total each. Maybe you say, you know what, I need that to get out of Cloaked Mines or to get out of his arc, and so
It's a
I guess so.
total fake out. They think you have Cheat Death in there, and you have that card instead.
Yeah, haha, fooled you.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what it is sounding like, though? It's sounding like your Federation cards are starting to move more towards the Klingon side.
Which is funny. I think the Klingons are moving more towards.
High price discard.
And speaking of Klingons, the Belana Torres card is a 3-pointer that says if you end your move overlapping another ship's base, you can discard this card to perform an action from your ship's action bar. It's a 3-point discard that basically does this. Isn't it the same thing that Ilea does for 2 points?
No, Ilea is 4 points, but she is not a discard.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the difference. So why would you take Belana when there are better Belana cards? Not to mention the fact that Ilea is already there for 1.1.
It's just really sad.
And if you can maneuver, that card becomes excessive anyway.
So we're happy you got a Mark II Delta Flyer, Ryan. Enjoy running it.
Well, see, I'm going to go buy another retail of the first one, get all those tech cards that allow me to have better everything, because that actually is a great pack. One of my favorite packs. Not that I'm biased. And maybe you'll see the Delta Flyer and the Delta Flyer 2 flying in some future
I'm not sure you can fly them. Are they actually the same ship?
Well, no, the
That one
Delta
just
Flyer got
upgraded?
destroyed. And
Okay.
he built a brand new ship for it, and since it has a different official title, I'm assuming you can fly both. That is actually a question I have.
No, you can. You can.
Well, final thoughts about this event? Would anyone here want to replay this event as it was put out by WizKids?
No.
I want to try with the Kill Fleet and see how that would play, because I didn't get to enjoy that before.
Is that enjoy in quotes?
That's thus the hesitation in finishing the sentence.
Pete?
I would not want to play this one again, but I'm thinking that this scenario probably would have been better as a, not like a small tournament, but a large tournament where you're not necessarily knowing who you're playing against. You're not going there for a friendly game. Bringing someone for the first time, like Matt, I don't even know what he thought of this scenario. It's like seeing everyone. It's just like a very cutthroat scenario.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to have anything like that. I really think, like I said, I think it would be better in a much larger venue where you're not going to be going, oh, hey, my friend so and so. hey, I'm gonna just rip out your throat now.
So that you don't feel bad about it, you're doing that to a stranger instead.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, that's not, but it's also, also you would think in that sort of scenario, in that sort of setting, you would have more cutthroat scenarios. You'd have people trying to play at their ultimate top level of this game. We're not quite there. We play on a more friendly basis.
yeah. Well, I'm going to make this unanimous and say no. I would not want to play this event again as written. I think that if it was as soon as one ship got across the line, everybody was free because the race is over. Then sure, I'll play it again. But as written, no.
No.
We do have some news. We're going to break up the news a little bit. Ryan, you got something that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I was watching the shipyard today, hat tip David Montgomery, and he had mentioned that, of course, he's in California in the Bay Area, and he had mentioned that the store that he plays at is going to be hosting an unofficial regionals. This is not sanctioned by WizKids, but kind of a prep for the upcoming Worlds event. And I thought, hey, wouldn't that be a great idea? Maybe we could do the Mid-Atlantic one. We talked with our store owner, talked with the TO, Chris, and we will actually be running during this off month of official OPs the obstacles event or mission, excuse me, which will be what they play at Worlds, and we're hoping that people would like to come down. If you're in the area, Connecticut, Vermont, Jersey, northeastern PA, come on over. We are in the Hudson Valley in a town called Poughkeepsie, and we play at the Dragon's Den the first Saturday of every month at 2 p.m. The first Saturday is June 3rd, and we would love to have you come down and join us for an unofficial Mid-Atlantic Regionals.
I think it's
Awesome.
going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I hope we get some new faces in there. It'd be great just to up our game a bit.
Yeah, I really had to argue with the TO about this.
I believe your response when I initially mentioned it was, that's a great idea.
It was. It really was a great idea. And the store owner was all on board with it. So, and now for other news, we go to Pete.
All right. So Worf, not the Klingon, but the rules people that are those lovely people, have recently changed the card text on reverse course. Elite talent from Seala's Warbird prize pack to make it a discard. I wish I could comment, but I really don't know that card. I'm assuming I think it's a Romulan card.
It is a Romulan card. It's an elite talent from the grand prize pack of the Klingon Civil War. And it was basically you could ignore your chosen maneuver and do a 1 or 2 backup as a white maneuver.
That's a white. I know.
Yeah,
it was overpowered, but awesome.
It was an awesome card.
I don't know that it was overpowered. I think it was meta changing. It really countered a lot of stuff that's out there. Like it would be an effective counter against cloaked mines, against any of the control cards because, you changed my dial to a 1 turn. I'm going to back up instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought it was a phenomenal card, even though I don't own it. I think Chris is the only one who owns it among us. But
I have it as well.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, yeah, because he won.
Oh, right, he did win that one. So
and I got it.
It's a phenomenal card, and I think that this ruling, in terms of making it a discard, so you can only do it once, turns it into a 5-point nothing burger in some ways. I mean, I don't think it really is all that helpful anymore at all.
No,
it becomes situationally useful. I mean, if you know you're going up against someone who's playing Lure, or you know you're going up against someone who's playing Cloaked Mines, in those situations it can be useful. But that's it now.
But I'm still going to take the other Romulan card that's similar, another elite talent, Full Stop from the Scimitar pack, which is a 3-point discard. You don't move, you don't reverse course, but you can ignore the dial and you stop. You still get to take your action though. So, I mean, I would take that way before I would take this updated reverse course.
There you go.
I have to say, though, I am liking this because it seems that even more cards are starting to follow the Klingon way. I play this card. I'm starting to not feel alone out there.
Well, once again, our website is tinyurl.com/STAWBB. Go there, check out. I've posted images of the fleets, pictures of the prize pack, and the resource, and check out our other episodes.
Yeah, everybody, thanks so much for listening to the Star Trek Attack Wing Battle Bridge podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, you can head over to our Facebook page, Star Trek Attack Wing Battle Bridge, or email us at stawbattlebridge@gmail.com. Hey, as Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. Thanks for listening. Listen again next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening.
Transfer complete. Transfer complete.